free enterprise capitalism and the American dream. That's what this campaign is about. I'm really, at the same time that I'm so happy everyone came out tonight, I'm really saddened at the state that our country is going down, the path that our country is going down. It is just absolutely deplorable. I think everybody can agree with that. And it's just really sad. Politicians in Washington are just destroying our country. So I feel that it's my duty, it's my responsibility to take a stand and do my part, at least my part, for our country and for our state of Texas. My mom, who's here tonight, immigrated. She is a perfect example of the American dream. She immigrated from Venezuela in her early 20s without a dollar to her name and could not speak a lick of English, but she had a vision. She had the American dream, and there was nobody going to stop her from achieving that. And she has achieved the American dream. And what has happened to our country? Why is everybody on this entitlement mentality? What happened to ask not what your country can do for you, but what can you do for your country? What happened to that? Over 40 years ago, President Kennedy said that, and our country's gone so far south of that, everybody's got their hand out saying, hey, give me, give me, give me, give me. And it's absolutely unsustainable. There is no way that everybody can just keep sucking our country dry. We need to instill values in our community, values in our youth. This campaign is more than just me running for office. I want to educate our youth. I want to teach them values and teach them hard work and perseverance. What my mom taught me. My mom not only came to this country over 23 years ago legally, but she also told her dad when she was leaving Venezuela, she said, Dad, I'm leaving Venezuela and I'm never coming back because Venezuela is going down. And it has since then. How is it possible that a country full of wealth, some of the greatest oil reserves in the world, has some of the poorest people in the world? You know, Hugo Chavez used to go through the slums with the military and throw out rice and beans, and they would hail him as a leader for doing this. And that's what happens when you keep people's consciousness down here. When you keep people's consciousness low to where they don't know what they can do, what they can achieve, what they can become, when they don't believe in themselves, that's how evil people stay in power indefinitely. In fact, he had the Constitution rewritten so that they could remove term limits, and he stayed in power until he passed away. This is possible, and slowly, when you keep people's consciousness level down, that's what happens. What's the saying? Teach a man to fish, he eats for his lifetime. But if you give him a fish, he just eats today. These entitlement programs that have been in effect for decades have not reduced poverty. They have increased poverty because you keep people down with these entitlement programs. Instead of using those dollars for education, instead of using those dollars to retrain people and get them in the workforce, no, we're not just going to give away money, but why don't we retrain you and help you get a good job? Why don't we set up the economy and set up business leaders to provide jobs so that you can have a good job and provide for your family endlessly, as opposed to unemployment and benefits and welfare? My first job, when I was 14 years old, I used to sell the Houston Chronicle right over here on the corner. No kidding. I would sell it from Saturday, from sunup to sunset. And the deal with my mom, so that she would let me have this job, was that whatever I earned on Saturday, I have to put away for a college fund, and whatever I earn on Sunday, I could spend as I choose. At the time, that was less than minimum wage, but it was great because I was 14 and I had some cash. And it taught me the value of a dollar. It taught me what is the value of earning a dollar, and it felt great. I was 14 and I had cash in my pocket, and I earned it. No one gave it to me. At 16, I started frying chicken at Popeyes during the summertime, of course. At that time, minimum wage was $4.25 an hour. Do you know what it is when you work a 40-hour work week at $4.25 an hour, and you make, after taxes, $150? But I had no bills at the time. And at 16, I would go through $150 in 1 hour. at the mall. I'll buy some sneakers and gum, and I was done. Yeah, and I was like, at that time, at 16, I said, oh, this isn't gonna work. You know, I was like, no way, I need to do something with myself. I have to become somebody. That's what that taught me. Minimum wage, let's increase minimum wage, let's help people out. What people don't understand is minimum wage is the very bottom. That is not the middle class. Since when did minimum wage jobs be careers? The minimum wage job is not a career. It never has been. And I think the liberal media, they perpetuate these lies that, oh, you know, certain people don't want to increase minimum wage. If we increase minimum wage, all the prices go up. It's basic economics. So at 16, I was frying chicken. I was working for minimum wage. And I said, I'm going to do something with my life. I joined the Marines straight out of high school because I knew I wanted to go to college. When they told me they would give me $50,000 for college after 4 years of active duty, I said, where do I sign? And that was some of the best experiences in my life. It taught me values, dignity, self-responsibility, and owning up to your actions. You make a decision, and it might be bad, but you made it, and you stand by it. And if you screwed up, you say, I screwed up. Let's try again. This campaign reminds me, this campaign is exactly like when the U.S. Marines were attacking Normandy. That's what I think of. They were holding the line, and they were getting shot at, and they were getting blown up, and tanks were sinking to the bottom of the ocean. But did they turn around and go home? Absolutely not. They said, we're going forward. And not the Nazis, not the terrorists, nobody can stop the U.S. Marines. Everybody knows if the U.S. Marines are coming, then you better be going. Oh yeah, because the U.S. Marines will take over a whole country in 2 days. So these are the values that my mom taught me. In fact, my mom came to this country with only the clothes on her back, an international scholarship, and her vision of the American dream. And we went through some tough times. If anybody remembers in the 80s, when the oil business went downhill, when the price of gas went from $20 a barrel to $10 a barrel, the oil companies were not hiring. They were firing. Thousands and thousands of workers got laid off. And it was hard to find work. That's when my mom made the transition from the oil business into teaching, into education, where she's been for the past 30 years. A noble cause to my teachers over here. But you know what that said? That said a lot about her character. And during those years, do you know what else? Never, ever did my mom take $1 from the government. Not in food stamps, and even though she could have, and probably should have, my mom could not wrap her head around that concept. My mom could not, and still can't. She would say, the government is just going to give me money? For what? Absolutely not. That's stealing. And that's what I learned. And I want to get our country back on track. It really breaks my heart. Some of my brothers and sisters in the military and have gave their lives gladly for this country, to see where it's going really breaks my heart. They're rolling over in their graves. So this campaign is about taking our country back, taking our state. As your next state representative, I pledge to keep Common Core, C-Scope out of Texas. They will not be on Texas with me on watch. Bureaucrats in Washington have no business telling my mom and these other educators what or how to teach their children in their schools. Bureaucrats in Washington can't even balance a budget. I think we all have to balance our own budgets. So before they can get involved in Texas, in Harris County, they need to get their own affairs in order. As your next state representative, right here down the street, Emerson Elementary, where my lovely educators work. Last week, there was a young mother waiting for her child after school, and she was shot to death. That is absolutely unacceptable. What is anybody doing about this? When you are shot to death waiting for your child at 3 p.m. in broad daylight, what is the current state rep doing about this? What is our council member doing about this? Do they care? We're not looking the other way anymore and saying, hey, this isn't my problem. This is my problem. This is our problem. This is our community. And we are going to take this state back. We're going to take this district and we're going to take this state back. November 4th, I ask for your vote. I ask that you vote for Morad Fiki. I ask that you tell everybody you know, vote for Morad Fiki. A vote for Morad Fiki is a vote for free enterprise capitalism and the American dream. Thank you very much for coming today.